Good evening, everybody. Rubik's Master here with another War Commander video. This is the first video I've actually made in about a week. I've been traveling around a bit. I live in Florida, and long story short, over the past few days, I've ended up in Maryland, which is where I am right now. Anyway, wasn't going to make a video tonight, but I noticed the update that came out, and holy cow, it's amazing. Personally, I think it's mostly good stuff, though there are a few things that I don't really like. I'm not going to go through, like, item by item and explain it all or give my thoughts on it. I'm just going to give an overview thing. So, first thing I saw was that they had reduced helicopter health. So we all remember the Hind being absolutely ridiculous for being at level 1, having 25,000 health. It now has 6,000. I believe the exact term in the patch notes was that the Hind and MI28 health were normalized to tanks. So the Hind was normalized to like a Rhino's health, and the MI28 was normalized to I don't know, I guess an Abrams health. It's cool. I believe it also said they deal more burst damage. So they're more damaging, they're still pretty tanky, but they're not just absolutely ridiculous. And that's awesome. I haven't experienced yet, but I know a lot of people were complaining about the brokenness of a Hind being able to just, stroll into somebody's base, drawing all the attention of the flak turrets and the machine gun turrets, and then a few S-13s being able to just wreck the whole base without any trouble. That is broken. Okay, the other thing, now I can't, the S-13, it needed a nerf. It really did. Like, if there's a unit that everybody uses, like, is literally the only unit anybody uses to do attacks, that either means the unit itself is very overpowered or all the other units are very underpowered. And I think for this update, they did a very good job of buffing all the other units while simultaneously bringing down units like the S-13 and the Hind, because they needed a nerf. Instead of being a main powerhouse and being able to also withstand a lot of damage, they're now basically just a damage-dealing vehicle. So you have to rely on your tanks in front of them. You can't just send a storm of S-13s in like you could and wreck a base. You have to use a little more strategy, put a few tanks in front of your units. Got to do that. Okay, so something else. What else did they say? Oh, something I don't quite agree with is that they leveled the vehicle speed for all units of a type, I believe it was. So speed before was basically the only thing that kept the lower level units relevant, as I explained when I looked at Abrams in my Everything About Abrams video, which is now basically irrelevant. Basically all my videos are irrelevant with this update. Whoopsies. Anyway, so speed was the only factor that kept lower level vehicles relevant, like the Rhino, while it only had 5 more speed than the Abrams, when you were attacking a sprawling base, that came into factor. Now, look, the S-13 has a speed of 70, Rocket Buggy has a speed of 70, and I think it was the Striker speed of 70. And if you look at the tanks, the Rhino, speed of 50. I don't remember exactly what it was before. I think it may have been 55. Either way, the Abrams and Rhino both go at the same speed, which I don't agree with. Like I said, that speed difference is the only thing that kept lower level units relevant. Now, there's literally no reason for me to use Rhinos. Absolutely none. It's pointless for me to. They have a lot less health and a lot less damage per second. But rolling into my next thing, which is rolling back into a positive thing, pretty much every unit in general, I say every unit, they specifically reference the tanks, the base level, the tier 1 units and tier 2 units, and they also mentioned the machine gun turret are all scaled differently now. It used to be like, so I think your riflemen, when you upgraded them from level 1 to level 2, they gained like 9 damage per second. And when you upgraded them from level 2 to level 3, they got like 9 damage per second. And when I got all the way up to upgrading them to level 10, they were going to get a whopping 9 damage per second added. Now they've added a scale to where, let's say, before level 1 to level 2 was 9, now it's like, I don't know the exact number, so this is just pulling it straight out of my butt for an example. Now, it only raises your damage per second by like 5. And your next level ups your damage per second by 7. And your next one by 9, and your next one by, and it goes up and up and up until you see level 9 to level 10 adds a whopping 26 damage per second, which is almost one brain fart seventh of a damage increase, which is pretty sweet, especially when you look at what that has done to the tanks. The tanks, since their promotion increase goes to their health, as you see now, my Abrams now have 21,000 health. So no longer is a Hind a better tank than a tank. Your tank is your tank. That's awesome. It's an awesome balance. It's how it should be. I don't know why they didn't do this from the get-go. Okay, so they balance these units out. A couple other little... really, as far as these units go, you just need to use them, get a feel for them. They actually have different strengths and weaknesses now, like where it says some types of vehicles are super effective against infantry and some are super effective against other things. That has been increased. So now, like, what is it? I think infantry is supposed to be super effective against heavy vehicles. They will be even more effective against heavy vehicles now. Like, if you're going up against a base with heavy vehicles, you're actually going to want some infantry, rather than just going, meh, my S-13s can handle it. Okay, another couple little minor things. Like I said, they added the whole damage scale to the machine gun turrets as well, so let's see what that was increased to. I believe my turret at this level was doing 360 damage per second? Yeah, it's been increased to 460. It got a 100 damage increase just with the update. Now, that does come with level 1 to level 2 and level 2 to level... Sorry, at levels 1 and 2, both those levels have less damage than they had before. To really see the increase in the damage, you have to get them to level 3 and above. This does mean that lower level bases are actually going to be a lot weaker than they were before. It gives you incentive to work towards it. Other little buffs... Oh, also they decreased machine gun turret damage to helicopters, I believe. I don't think all flying units, but I think they reduced the damage to helicopters. So the howitzer, they increased the damage per second, increased its effectiveness against light vehicles and heavy vehicles, but I believe they made it turn slower. No, they didn't make that one turn slower. They made the salvo turret turn slower. They decreased the blast radius on the salvo turret, increased the total damage, making it more effective against infantry and helicopters. So that's cool. It's more effective against air units, Maybe there's a purpose to throw it in. There's a reason to throw it in there now. Railguns now deal increased damage per second, which doesn't really mean much with the buff the tanks got. The railgun is still going to do probably about the same percentage damage to the tank as it did before, just because of the tank's new massive health. The flat gun, I don't remember any of the updates to it. I don't think there was anything really significant, but I think there was a slight tweak to it. Oh, they did add a free daily crate, which is awesome, because I don't know if I've mentioned this before, but prior to this, there hasn't really been a draw to open the game every day. Because it's not like, without build times, it's not like you have to get in and put your builders to work so you're not wasting downtime. You just kind of join and play if you want to, and then if not, it's kind of easy to get out of the rut of it. Now with these daily crates, let's go ahead and open them up. if it will. Anyway, now with these daily crates, it gives you a reason to hop in here every day and at least do this. And if you're in here doing this, getting all these cool cards, wow, did you see that? 958 critical cards for my Rhino. They need to come up with an exchange system for these things. Anyway, what on earth was I just talking about? Oh, so if you get in here, you get all these critical cards, and it makes you, with all those critical cards and the new available updates, it's going to make you want to play more to get your resources to do your upgrades, which is good. Seriously, I have so many freaking Rhino cards. It's ridiculous. Okay, so, oh, they also, in the shop, they decreased the cost of something. I don't see a decrease in cost. They all look like they cost the same. So I don't understand. They said they decreased the cost of like upgrade packs and whatnot, which would make sense because, man, these things are ludicrously expensive. Just ludicrous. I mean, if you want to get a 260 item pallet, you're going to have to spend at least $20. But anyway, that's not a big deal. So the last little thing about the updates was things done to the world map. This is kind of a love-hate thing for me. I mean, it does add a little variety. I can't speak for certain on the tweaks they did to the strongholds, but they implemented a new system where instead of, so like before, I have Rhinos and Abrams available for my tanks, so if I attacked a heavy vehicle stronghold, I knew for a fact that I was going to get 4 Rhino critical cards and 4 Abrams critical cards. Not so anymore. You attack a stronghold, and let's see what stronghold is out here. Oh, it's heavy vehicle stronghold. So now you attack a heavy vehicle stronghold, and you could get a bronze crate, silver crate, or gold crate, the same kinds of crates that you get from defeating human players. The only difference is that any items inside are going to be based around heavy vehicles. Now, I don't know for sure, but if these items could include equipment, that would be awesome. Because that's one thing I'm missing. Like, I'll grind strongholds all day long, but I'm not getting equipment, so some of the critical aspects of my units are not getting improved. But at the same time, it's going to make it harder to grind for specific units. Like if I want to grind for my rocket buggy that just popped up, because I almost have enough to build one once I upgrade my war factory, I'm going to have to grind longer because I don't know for sure what kind of critical cards I'm going to get. What other upgrades did they do? I think that's really it. That's the gist of it, really. So I guess the synopsis of all of that is they scaled it to where player levels are farther apart. Your units and defending units are weaker at lower levels than they were before, but they are also stronger at higher levels than they were before. Massive balances in vehicles, meaning that you actually have to think about the kind of attacks you want to do. Now you're going to definitely want to carry a couple different kinds of platoons, and that third platoon is going to be key to get, because you'll want to have a platoon to take on a base that has, all machine gun turrets, or has good flak defense, or has lots of heavy vehicles defending it. You're going to want more platoons to do that. And I think it's going to make this game a lot more complex for us. And while it may be a little frustrating now because all the tactics we used before don't work, we're going to appreciate it a lot more as it goes on. So, let me know your thoughts on the updates. I know, like I said, it can be frustrating, especially when it's a system we've been used to for several months now, but like I did say, the game is still really new, even though it had a very, very long beta, so they're still coming out with massive updates. Even in the video where I said you need to be upgrading all your units equally and not just focusing on trying to max out your S13s or whatever. If you haven't done that, you're in a pickle now. You're now going to have to try and rush resources to upgrade your infantry and your tanks, especially your tanks. Your S13s are now basically going to be useless without tanks, at least in theory. I haven't even done an attack since the update came out, but I'll be diving into that. So, anyway, let me know what y'all think. Till next time, have an awesome day.